So Cody was just abrupt and ended our episode. So I'm going to say this at the beginning of the podcast instead of the end. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and yeah, we hope you enjoyed the episode. See you next time. Hello, class. Welcome back to your second day of AP Classroom. I am your teacher, Eli Plummer, here with my TA.
Cody?
Welcome back. Let's get into class. So, Cody,
Yes.
I'm a little, as the kids would say, peeved today.
Why is that?
Never in my 1 week of teaching have I ever been so disappointed in a class.
Why?
Why are we not already beating Joe Rogan?
Because he was a professional fighter, and we're not.
I meant on the podcast charts.
Because
We
he
we
has
have
guests
six.
on.
We you're technically like a guest.
Was I just demoted to guest live?
No, I'm just trying to think of a way I could beat Joe Rogan.
Oh. Um,
I'm very sad. So at this point in filming, we have like 16 views on our channel on like that one video, our last episode, and so we only have 3 subscribers, 2 of which are me and Cody.
I'm not subscribed.
We have 3 subscribers, 1 of which is me, and there's just this guy from what's that browser called, DuckDuckGo or
Yeah,
something, that like
DuckDuckGo. If you're
and
listening to this right now on DuckDuckGo, shout out to you.
yeah,
You're great.
comments we can find you out, my guy or girl. We don't care, but like. We just want to know because we just saw that on the analytics and we are very confused.
Yeah.
So, okay, moving. How's your week going?
It's been like every other week because I can no longer tell the passage of time.
Yeah, that's true. I thought this Wednesday was Friday and like was convinced it was until it wasn't, and I was like, oh shit, it's Wednesday.
That's too relatable.
The, God, we're approaching a year of COVID. That's insane.
Well,
Like
it's been
March
over a
19th is
year.
when our school.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, for
okay,
us,
of
like
lockdown. Huh?
yeah,
Yeah, I was like, what do you think the 19 stands for?
it's the
um,
19th edition.
when is the collector's edition coming out?
Can I get a COVID can I get COVID extended edition director's cut?
Release the COVID cut. Speaking of special edition cuts of things, I
Honestly,
pitched an idea to Eli that's very good. And I
oh
want it
god
to be
damn
recorded. So if it ever
it's not
happens, yes, it will happen. All right, here was my idea. If at any point Eli can't record an episode, like he's busy, he's sick, whatever, but we need to record one because they come out every other week. Just let me record a normal episode, like the same conversation topics and stuff, but I am both hosts. So I'm talking to myself, who is responding.
that bit is gonna get so boring after 2 minutes.
It will not. It's such a good idea. It needs to happen, and it will happen the one time Eli can't record.
Not gonna. I promise, if I ever can't make a recording, I promise something better than that. I
That
don't know
is
what it will
what the
be.
people want.
We will get a replacement host. Just I will not let Cody do one episode just by himself.
The Cody episode will happen. Guaranteed.
AP Cody.
That's what it's going to be called. It's going to be called AP Cody.
I refuse to let that happen.
It will happen. Mark my words.
Just on a base of principle, out of like a care for the content we are creating and for our audience, I refuse to let that be something we create and put out into the world.
They want the Cody cut. I know it.
No one wants the Cody. Here. I'll give you a dilemma.
Okay.
Hashtag release the Cody cut gets trending on Twitter. You can have a Cody episode.
I don't. I don't even use Twitter.
Oh well, it sucks to be you, doesn't it?
It's gonna happen anyway, man. You just can't. You can't prevent it.
Bro, I will be in a hospital like on critical condition, and I will still join this call just to make sure that doesn't happen.
Then I'll just wait a little bit for the Cody episode.
Wait like another week, and
Yeah.
then it just becomes a Cody podcast.
AP funeral studies. Parentheses. The Cody episode.
Also, whenever I get on Discord, we record this over Discord. I can't help but notice your your custom statuses.
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
Would you care to explain today's
What
by the
I
way
don't.
is
What is it?
today's is Rapture equals people aquarium. I would just like a little bit of an explanation, please.
So, Rapture is. In fact, I'm not talking about the biblical rapture, like
Oh,
the
you're
end
not. You're
of
not.
days. No, I'm referring to the underwater city from BioShock. Uh, so because it's an
Oh,
underwater
that
city,
makes so much more
the
sense.
fish view the people in little tanks or buildings. Therefore, Rapture, the city, would be a people aquarium.
Then that raises the question: are submarines just little human like packaging, like sardine cans that can move?
I think so. I'm willing to accept that truth.
I never played Bioshock, so that's why I was very confused.
If you think it is the biblical rapture, it makes a lot less sense.
That's why I was very confused.
Yeah. Well, now you know. I'm glad you asked for clarification.
Um, this isn't a tangent. This is just like a little sidebar. Um, when I was younger, this was like not shortly after. This was after like the Friday song by Rebecca Black came out. Um, and I remember my sister showed me like a YouTube parody of it called Rapture, and it's Doomsday, Doomsday. Everybody's waiting for the rapture. Like that was the lyric, and I remember I cried because I was scared of it. It was just a lady in front of like a green screen with us like red behind her. And I was genuinely terrified of that.
Wow, that's pretty intense, man. I'm not sure why
I-
anybody would make that. Was it like a religious thing? Was it like a religious video?
no, it was someone doing a parody, and it was like,
Yeah, but
hold on, I'm gonna look.
there's a hilarious parody of "What Does the Fox Say?" You remember that song? But it's
Sadly, I do.
what does the bishop say? And it's just they're in a church, just awkwardly dancing. It's great.
Wait, is that like meant to be a parody?
No, well, it's obviously meant to be a parody of "What Does the Fox Say?" But it was not done
It
ironically.
wasn't It wasn't satire.
Technically, parody is satire. I think you're confused about these words, but it wasn't.
Listen,
It
you
it
know
was
what I
far
mean.
more cringeworthy than it was meant to come off as.
Okay,
It was not self-aware at all.
so I looked up It's Friday, Doomsday, and the video I wanted, I think, came up. It's 9 years old, and then below it, it's just it's a 1 minute video. It says it's Friday, then Saturday. What? No, that made me laugh.
I really like how you're looking up videos on an
You were on your
audio-only
phone last.
podcast.
I wasn't gonna play. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't.
I was
like,
on my phone because you said
This
you
is-
were doing a Lego bit. You suggested this bit.
Wait, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't just. I didn't just like hallucinate this video when I was younger. I wanted to make sure like it was actually a thing.
I think someone's
Which
fact-checking this podcast.
No, it's more for myself. But that
Ah.
is actually a great segue into like one of my topics this week.
Hit me with it.
So this is something me and my friend have talked about. Where have you ever experienced the phenomena of when you have such a vivid memory of something, like either a video game, movie, like song, and you like know it exists, like deep in your core, but for some reason the rest of the world decided that it doesn't exist and you can't find any evidence of it anywhere.
Absolutely, that's happened. 100%.
Okay, but what's your experience?
I
I've told you mine.
Yeah, yeah, I remember it. I can't think of any. I know for a fact that's happened to me before, but I can't think of. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe I got Men in Black neuralized. I can't think of any anymore. But
All right. Well, mine is I used to play on my iPad this great game. It was called Juggernaut, and it was like a dark fantasy game. And I always chose there was like a bunch of characters you could choose from, and I always chose the dude. He was green, and he had a double light pointed spear. And the only thing I remember from that game is him. There was a little girl who had a teddy bear, who I'm pretty sure was a demon. And I would get to this one city bit where I would like hire this guard, and she was like a lady, and she followed me, called me her master. I think this sounds a lot worse than it is. It's a
what
great game.
is this a children's game?
No, it's not a children's game. I was too young to be playing it, but
Ah,
it wasn't XXX. It was more just like M rated. Or no,
okay.
probably it was probably PG-13, but beside the point. But I remember I'd always do that city bit, and I would lose. I didn't know what grinding meant, so like I didn't know how to go back and like level up my character, so I just kept dying. And if anyone knows this game exists, please help me. I miss it so much. That's what I would spend all my days doing. I would just play that game, and I love it so much.
Okay, so that reminds me. I can't think of any for me, but that reminds me of the evil farming game. Have you heard about this?
What? No.
Okay, so it's I'll give you the lore on this game, right? So there's a subreddit where you can go uh, with exact problems like this, where you vaguely remember a game, you put in the description, and people can comment if they remember the game. Um, and I think it became the top post of all time now. I'm pretty sure. It was this guy who thought who was it was this game like Stardew Valley, right, where you're a
Yes.
farmer, but the game starts with you murdering your wife, and the
Oh, you've told me
gameplay,
about this, I think.
yeah, and the gameplay is centered around both hiding your murder from the police and farming like a normal farming game. Nobody knows what this game is. Several people have suggested what games. All of them were shot down, and multiple people remember it. There's a whole nother subreddit, I think, just called Evil Farming Game, dedicated to trying to find this game. And I find that very cool. That there's just a game that maybe existed that there's no trace of anymore.
Do you remember the urban legend of what's it? I don't know how to pronounce it. Polybius?
Oh, Polybus,
Yo,
like
Polybus, yes, the
yeah,
arcade game
yep,
that like
absolutely.
made what it like made a bunch of people act weird, and like a bunch of men in suits came up, but like you can't
Yeah,
find any evidence that it like existed anymore.
it's tied into the larger MK Ultra conspiracy theory. It's like was made by the government to mind control people. I don't know enough about that
I don't either.
to comment about that. I don't know if it's, I think when you get conspiracies like that, I'm a little uncomfortable talking about that because I don't know that much about it, so I don't know if it's connected to some like anti-vaxxer nonsense. But yes, I do remember that was like really. I feel like conspiracy theories, like the harmless ones, like the urban legends, more like, kind of
Yeah.
got a resurgence when we were growing up.
Uh, um, what was I about to say? I was about to say I feel like stuff like that is just really interesting. Like, I don't know why. It's just like the fact that something like so out of the ordinary, like could exist, and a lot of people remember the stuff existing, but there's no evidence from it.
Yeah,
It's I don't know. I find it. That's all I wanted to say.
maybe that's what our podcast becomes. One of these days, when we
I
decide we
no,
don't
we
want the
can't.
podcast anymore, we'll just erase it all from every trace of the podcast from the internet, and we're just gonna pretend not to know each other anymore. And everyone's
Oh,
gonna
I
be
thought
like,
you
"Hey,
meant.
remember that podcast?" And then it just doesn't exist anymore. It never did.
I thought you meant like our podcast going to turn into just talking about these, and I was like, I refuse.
Yeah, no. Well, maybe we'll talk about it more in the Cody episode. And by we,
Oh
I
my
mean
god,
me.
the
Um,
Mandela. Sorry, so like the reason, yeah. So the polybus thing, like it's getting to the whole Mandela effect, and I find the Mandela effect one of the just like weirdest, coolest like experiences ever. like the fact that the origin of it is a story in of itself. Where isn't it just like Nelson Mandela? Like everyone just said he died and then he just didn't.
Um, I don't know where the origin comes. That sounds right.
Okay, and then I was
Only
thinking,
the
so
best
like,
fact checking here on the AP Classroom
yeah, so
podcast.
we do little research for an AP class.
I didn't
We
look.
do
I
very
have
little.
never looked anything up for this podcast
I haven't either.
other
I
than
do.
the
Oh wait,
picture.
I just did.
Other than the picture of like the baby toy from the first episode that I put in.
Okay, so I watched our last episode. I didn't plan on it, but then I was like, you know what? I'll just see how it came out. Oh my God. When I saw that, I was genuinely mad. Because that's not what I was talking about.
I mean, that's what I was talking about.
This is why you're the TA.
That's fair. All right. Do you want to go? There's I have no segue.
Oh, that's
Here.
fine. That was the only segue I think this show will ever see.
Yeah, that's one. Just I hope you enjoyed that cool segue that we did there.
That was
It's
purely coincidental, by the
Yeah.
way.
Oh, yeah. It was not planned, and it was not one of the two topics I have written down. So enjoy that one. It's the only one you're ever gonna get. Um, so the something I want to talk to you about, and I have one I think is the case for both of us, but it's like movies or games or TV shows that you watched, and it was just you didn't know anything could be that good. It just changed the game for you. Like you weren't even aware something could
Oh.
be that good. And I think we might have a shared one. And I think it's Parasite.
You're talking about the anime?
No, the movie.
Oh.
Have you?
Oh. Sorry. Yes.
Oh
That
God.
movie. No, sorry. Ignore that. Ignore that dumb moment. Parasite the movie. Holy shit.
So for reference, I saw it in theaters right when it came out, and then I went like a week later, and Eli and I together saw it in theaters.
Yeah, I was like, I really want to see it, but I don't want to go by myself. And I know, and Cody is a huge, you're very into movies and like
Yes.
directing and cinema. So I'm not. So I was like, I don't normally watch movies. I just don't find it that enjoyable. But like after hearing all the praise this movie was getting, I was like, I have to go see this, and I know Cody will probably want to see it. He was more than willing to see it. Um. So yeah, that movie. Oh my God.
It's just that movie is nearly perfect.
Oh, that movie is so
And
good.
so the funny part about that is the day we saw it together in theaters, we went to Birds of Prey right
I was gonna
after
bring
it.
that up. I didn't know what I
And
saw.
so going from Parasite, one of the best movies ever made, to Birds of Prey, which isn't a horrible movie, but
It's not good. It's not good.
it's not good, but it was even worse after it had to follow Parasite for how amazing it was.
So I went into that like I knew Parasite was gonna be good, but like I since I have no reference for how good a movie was, because I really only watch I watch like Marvel movies 'cause I'm into superheroes and all that. Um, so I was like, okay, this is probably gonna be pretty good. But then I was super excited for Birds of Prey because of all the because it's a comic book movie, which I'm really into, and it was getting so much praise, and I was like, great, this is gonna be a good movie and then an amazing movie. I left that movie theater like it was the complete opposite. It was almost the opposite. I was absolutely blown away by Parasite, and Birds of Prey made me want to stop, just like existing.
Yeah.
So I remember having like I saw all the praise and we saw that was it like it was the day or the day after that movie came out that we saw it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the
It was
theater had
relatively close.
what literally one other person in it.
No, it was there was two guys and then there like one other group I think of like two.
Oh, yeah, I just remember it being
Yeah.
incredibly empty.
It was incredibly empty. And so we saw it and then I remember leaving that movie so disappointed because I was like, what was that? That was not like fun. I was kind of just like Oh, sorry. This isn't. Sorry. No, this isn't the topic. We'll come back to Birds of Prey some other time.
Yeah. The thing about, like, I think there are very few pieces of media, games, TV shows, movies, that are as great as Parasite. See, Parasite isn't my favorite
Yeah.
movie of all time, but I
No, it's not
can,
mine either.
but I think that it's one of the best movies of all time, and I think very
It's
few pieces of media even hold up to the level of just quality that that movie is.
it's it's the best movie I've ever seen. Again, not my favorite, but it is definitely the best.
Yeah, that may be true for me. I'm not sure. I would have to rewatch a lot of those
Uh,
classic movies.
Yeah. But I remember. I, um. So, sorry. This is gonna go off on like a little side tangent, but then it's gonna loop back. Um, so I watch anime. Cody does not. And I texted Cody like a few weeks ago because I just started watching this new one called Wonder Egg Priority, and I was like, "Do you ever watch something and you know you're too dumb to understand all the levels of it?" That is my exact feeling with Parasite. I remember leaving that movie going, "There was a lot of smart stuff in it. I just don't know what it was."
Yeah, yeah,
Told me about like the whole crossing lines thing, and I was like, "Holy shit!
yeah.
It's
Just
so smart."
and it has so many levels. Like, obviously, you can understand at a basic level the class commentary in that movie if you were paying
Oh yeah.
attention. But then there's
Oh,
like
but I
each
mean, people like Elon Musk can't.
that is
That's a new favorite movie. It's a movie criticizing people like him.
yeah, and then you start getting down into these breakdown levels where you start analyzing the shot composition, and it still works. It still holds up. And
Yeah.
I don't think there are that many pieces of media that can be analyzed to that level that would hold up under that much scrutiny.
Bong Joon-ho is just an amazing person.
Yeah, out of all, so it for Eli mentioned a little bit earlier. I want to go into the film industry, and I when I hear about these directors, even directors that I absolutely admire, I really don't have any desire to like meet them in person. Just like at like just on the street, just run into them. Except for Bong Joon Ho, because he
It's
seems
just,
like he's such a legitimately nice and funny person.
but then he creates something as genuinely horrifying as Parasite.
Okay,
Or first, that's not
that
horrifying, but like,
yeah, that's funny because like all of these disturbing movies, very few people behind the scenes are that disturbing. Like if you know who Ari Aster
yeah,
is, he made
I don't.
Midsommar and
Oh, I refuse to watch that
Hereditary.
movie. I
That's an
refuse to watch
amazing
it.
movie as well.
I know, I
But
refuse to watch it.
all of his interviews, he's like such a normal guy, and then his movies are literally the most gut wrenching, horrible, horrifying. I mean, they're great movies, but they're just give you a horrible feeling.
I
Just
feel like
I
that
find it so
speaks.
funny.
I think that speaks truth to like how art is an expression. So like they get all like the negative emotions out through their directing, and then so they just become better people.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's true to a certain extent. Absolutely.
And they're probably just good people on their own. Bong Joon Ho has probably one of my favorite quotes about media.
Is it the
Um,
subtitle one?
it is. I pulled
It's
it up.
such
It's once you
so.
overcome that 1 inch tall barrier of subtitles, you'll be introduced to so many more amazing films. And it's just like that's just true about so many things. It's like once you break down the barrier of like just cultures and like re- people like are so thrown off by subtitles when really you get to a point where like how do you watch something and read something at the same time? You get to a point where you just kind of go into like this actors call it soft focus where you just kind of absorb everything and it just becomes like you don't even think about it. Like once you allow yourself to start enjoying the media, you realize, oh wait, it's actually not that bad. And you start like reading the subtitles in their voices, so it all makes sense, and it only becomes a chore once you bring attention to it. Really,
Yeah, when I remember Parasite, I don't remember the people speaking Korean. I remember the conversations between characters because like you said, you start reading it in their voices. And it's such an insane I have if people tell me that they don't watch movies with subtitles, I well, listen, like like you don't watch a lot of different types of movies.
I just don't watch movies that
Exactly.
often.
But if you're watching movies on a regular basis, or you have something to do with movies, like you're in film, or you have a professional interest in that, and you tell me you don't watch movies with subtitles, I immediately lose all respect for you. Because some of the best movies have subtitles. It makes no sense to limit yourself that much for something that is not a big deal. I'm convinced these people that don't read subtitles, they are illiterate.
I just can't read.
They can't read.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like the same thing with anime. Like I watch it and you go into like that soft focus and like it's like you open up to so many new cultures and experiences. I understand like if you're not in the like sometimes if you just want to watch something and you don't want to like it takes a certain level of not concentration but like to even
Focus.
start like yeah focus to even pay attention. So I understand if like you just want to turn on something that's in your national language and just chill out. That's
Yeah,
fine.
if I'm
Like,
falling asleep and I'm not going to be able to read the subtitle, yeah, I'll put it. There's nothing wrong with watching movies without subtitles. It's just, there shouldn't
if
be
you
a stigma around watching them with subtitles.
yeah
Now,
because go on.
there's an interesting development from once again Matt. That's a checkbox for
Okay.
mentioning him in this episode.
It's mention every episode until he gets it.
Now he mentioned that someone he knows. I don't know if he wants me. This is kind of going to
Yeah,
turn into
I
a little bit
wouldn't.
of a
I wouldn't.
call out, so I'm not going to mention specifically who it is. But someone he knows watches movies in English. Their English first language. They watch movies in English with subtitles on, and they're not
No,
they're not hearing impaired. I
this
heard of
this is the thing a lot of people do.
I'm aware. Maybe I missed why. I don't think I understand why.
So I do this with video games sometimes. Like I'll turn sometimes I'm trying to not do it as much so I can focus more on the game. But I don't know. It was just like but when you have subtitles on, I stopped doing it because I realized I wasn't paying attention to what was happening, and like moments were lost because you can read where stuff is going through subtitles. Like if someone's talking and then there's a line at the end, like oh something's gonna happen, it's gonna cut them off. So that's why I stopped turning them on. I
Yeah.
I
So
really I think genuinely like my honest answer is because I watched so many Let's Players that just turned on subtitles for their audience that I just started doing it.
yeah. So if you listening to this watch movies in a language you speak with the subtitles in that same language, just comment why. I'm genuinely curious. I'm not judging anyone for doing it because it doesn't ruin the
Each
experience,
their own, yeah.
obviously. Yeah. But you also said something there that are we gonna get another segue here? I think so. You
Oh
mentioned.
wow, really? Oh my! Oh, two
I
in one
know
episode.
it's two in one episode. I'm burning through them real fast. You mentioned that you turn off subtitles to enjoy the games more, and it reminded me of kind of an experience you've been going through when it comes to games, where you told me you're trying to appreciate video games more as an art form, and I think that's great. And just do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've been playing video games legitimately since I can remember. I had a, I was yeah, I had a Game Boy Advance, I believe. It was either Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color. I would just play Super Mario 3 on it all the time. That's like I played that, and then I got a Wii, and I've always been playing video games. It's always been a stress reliever for me. I think that's why I never really saw it as an art form until recently. I always knew it was an art form. I never looked at it like that because whenever I would play video games, like like when I play, so I say I play a decent amount of video games. And my parents are like, why don't you like turn that into a career? I'm like, I never wanted video games to become something I have to like hard focus on because then I start losing interest in it. So that's why it took me so long to start looking at it through like a critical eye, because I would just like to sit down and play the game and just kind of turn my brain off for a while.
Yeah, and I think.
Recently, oh,
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt your explanation, but
my
I
heart
think
felt.
I've I've too have been playing video games pretty much all my life, but I think the difference is you said it's never something you've like hard focused on, but if you paid attention to the last episode, little lore about me is I go hard at some games. So for
Like
me, like there are
hard.
games that have pulled all of my attention before. So it's easier for me to, when I'm devoting that much time to something, to see it as an art form. Continue.
Well, I like I don't like playing competitive in a game normally. There's one exception to that, and this
Is
so
there?
my fit there is.
I did not know this.
So yeah, I usually stay away from competitive play just because I don't want my like unwillingness to take the game super seriously to affect someone else's like rank that they've worked hard for. One exception to this game is my favorite game of all time. That is Overwatch. I
Oh.
Let me explain
Oh.
because me and Cody have a relationship with Overwatch.
Yeah,
So I started playing
well,
Overwatch like shortly after it came out, and so I played it on my Xbox, and that was the first game I ever played that like I had friends to play with. Like normally they would all I don't like Call of Duty. I don't. I think it's a boring game. I think it's the same every time, and there's little to no change. But like I guess some people want that, so I guess I don't care. Like if you like playing it, you do you. I don't. I just don't find it that good of a game. Also, the community is toxic, and that is not up for discussion. They're one of the worst gaming communities of all time.
you
Um,
know, I disagree.
really?
I
Because
see
I
that.
despise the Call of Duty fan base.
Listen. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I don't play Call of Duty, and I agree with you that I think it's pretty repetitive. So the thing is, the Call of Duty fandom is like just it's I think it's very boilerplate. It's very standard for toxic gaming fandoms, in my opinion. I think there are a lot worse, and I think there are a
Very
lot
true.
worse in different ways.
That's true. Have you ever played Rainbow Six Siege? Oh my god, that fan
No,
base will cut your head off
no,
if you.
but I have played League of Legends, which has a reputation for having a horrible community.
Very true. Very true. Sorry. So just going back to what I was saying, you're right. Okay, maybe it's not that bad on the. It's still toxic, and I still don't like it. But
Yeah.
basically, Overwatch was the first game that I played, and then I got my friends to play it with me, and we would have full 6-man teams. And I started taking that game seriously because we started playing competitive, and like everyone was trying their best, and I felt like this is a game I genuinely care about, and I really want to get good at, and I had the characters I like playing, and I go hard on that game every time I play it. It did ruin it. The game isn't as good as it used to be, and I acknowledge that. I recently started playing the game again with my friends because it brings back that nostalgia. And so whenever that's the only game I just jump into competitive play now. And like that's like the standard. I don't play quick play anymore. I just play competitive in that game. So it's so rolling this all the way back. Sorry, this was a long tangent. It took me a long time to start seeing games, especially story-driven games, as those art forms because it took a lot for me to start like turning my brain on and actually listening on what's happening. Like I started playing Stardew Valley again recently, kind of call back to earlier. And I remember I like sped run that game the first time I played because I just like I'm very into relationships in games. I think the connections you build with characters is like always my favorite part. Like if a game has bad characters, I don't like playing it. I remember you can get married in that game, and I just sped run getting married like within a year of that game. And I was like, then once I got married, I stopped playing. Recently, I'm like, you know what? No, I did not get the most out of this game. I focused on one person. I didn't get to know the community that much. So I've been playing it again recently, and I am already enjoying myself so much more. And I'm like not even halfway as through as I was before.
I have a mix of nostalgia and appreciating story in games. Uh, when the game Firewatch came out,
Yeah,
which if you're unaware is a purely single player story, entirely story driven game. There's very little actual gameplay. It's a walking simulator, which I know some people don't like, but I don't mind. Um, but the thing is, my brother and I both got it on the same day, and we both played it at the same time in different rooms. And any time a major event would happen in the story, we'd like walk into the other person's room and be like, what's happening in yours?" Like, because it's broken up into days. So like, what day are you on? And it was a very fun time. That it brings back a lot of nostalgia, and I think it was one of the first games where I was like, all right, this game, the purpose of this game is to tell a story, which there's not a lot of games like that. Because, like, even with Stardew Valley, I think the purpose of the game is the gameplay.
The
But,
purpose of the
like,
game is the connections you make with the villagers. Like that,
okay.
like farming. No, like I would say that like farming is more of like I guess no, yeah.
But, okay, the thing is, I think it's very easy to look at games as telling a story and appreciate them that way if you play a game that only wants to tell you a story and does not care
True.
about gameplay.
True.
And there's a lot of those that are very good.
Um, uh, the first game I played that was like that. That was so I don't normally play those types of games. Like I said, I don't like focusing that much. I'm getting better, but I remember I played a game called What Remains of Edith Finch.
Dude, that's a great game.
And you played it? I think
I
last time I asked you, you hadn't played it yet.
I have played it.
That game, oh my
Great game.
God. That
Uh,
I remember I played through that game in one sitting. I was like, "Mom, can I buy a game?" She goes, "Yeah, sure." $20. I finished. I couldn't stop playing it. Um, that game was such a narrative. I thought it was so genius the way it was told through different parts of the house and how that represents everyone. And just I remember I was genuinely creeped out by that game during certain parts, and then other parts found me like crying because I it was such a good game.
yeah, I think so. A lot of people absolutely hate walking simulators, and I understand
Yeah,
why. 100% I
yeah,
understand
yeah.
why. I don't have a problem with them, and there's a lot of very good ones that work. There's a quadrillion bad ones because they're very easy
Yes,
to make, and if you play on a platform like Steam where you can publish your own game, most walking simulators you're going to play are going to be bad. But there's
yes.
if you like walking simulators, there's good ones. Firewatch, very good. Um, my favorite one, the Beginner's Guide, is it's one of those games where like I don't even know if I fully understand it. Like if I that
Never heard of
could
that game.
okay, so it's basically it's by the writer of another game, the Stanley Parable, another great walking simulator.
They made okay. I don't know it, but I know Stanley Parable. That game was very funny.
It's very different from the Stanley Parable. It is a walking simulator, but it's like it's an autobiography that takes you with the guy's name is Davey Redden. It takes you through all the games his friend made throughout the beginning of their programming career, and he narrates the relationship between him and his friend, and what kind of how the creative process kind of like decayed that relationship. There's many different interpretations. It's a very sad game. It gives you a feeling. That game gives you a feeling of nostalgia, even if you didn't play those early Source games. Another good one, and this won a bunch of awards when it came out. It is legitimately the saddest game I've ever played. It's called That Dragon Cancer.
I've
Oh my
okay. I
god.
was I was trying to remember the name of that. 'Cause remember, I'd never watched someone play it, but I remember those that took over YouTube for like a week.
Oh my god, that game is emotionally draining, dude. I
What's it called
don't
again?
I
That Dragonfire? Or...
that Dragon Cancer.
Oh, that Dragon Cancer.
It's about the real story of a child with cancer. I'm not gonna say anything more about it.
Yeah.
If you want, I don't want to. I don't want to. This is a little bit more of a depressing episode. Maybe next topic could be a little bit lighter. But if you're interested in that game, it's a very good art style. It's very well told. If that is a game that you're interested in, and you like walking simulators, I highly recommend playing it.
All right. Can I talk about one more video game and
One
then we'll
more.
move on?
And then we'll move on to something more
Um,
lighthearted that is not literally children with cancer.
um, oh, this one isn't. This one's like probably the middle ground between like it's probably not as depressing as that, but it's still pretty depressing. I remember the first game that like ever really hit me, like the story of it was The
Gex.
Last of Us Part
Oh.
One.
Bubsy
Wow,
3D.
way to ruin that moment for me, Cody. No, I
Uh,
remember I played The Last of Us was like free with PlayStation Plus, so I was like, sure, I'll get it. I forget, have you played it or do you just like know the story?
I've played both of them now.
Oh, you have? Okay, I haven't played the second one. But I played the first one, and I remember that
I played a
game.
little. I haven't played the full second one. I played a little bit of it.
Oh, okay. I remember that game made me feel more connected to a character than any other medium has ever achieved and has yet to achieve. I care so much about Joel and Ellie to a point where it's like I didn't. So zombies are like one of my worst fears. Like I hate the fact of zombies so much because it seems so realistic to me. Like the fact that humanity could just fuck up one day and create them. Um, but that game, in the way it makes you care about Ellie as like your basic daughter at this point. Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna spoil it, but at this point, that game has been out for like almost a decade, hasn't it?
Joel was a zombie the
Something.
whole time.
He wasn't.
He was. That's how
um,
it ends.
but that game is all about like that game. You always have a second character to be with. You always have at least one character who's like your companion. So while you may be swarmed by a bunch of zombies, you never feel alone. There was
That
one
game
moment
is
in that
about the
game.
treatment of healthcare workers in the United States.
Jesus Christ. Um, and let me get. I let you have your moment. Let me have mine.
Fair enough.
I remember there's this one point where you're separated from Ellie, and you were in like a dark basement that's flooding. And I remember I genuinely had to stop playing the game because I was shaking with fear. Like my hands were not okay, but I tried playing a different video game like help myself calm down and I couldn't. That is the only game I played for a week straight. Whenever I had free time, I would play that game and I would so invest in the characters and that game is a depressing game. At one point so at that point you're Joel and you're just by yourself and you're separated from Ellie. Later on, you're Ellie and you get separated from Joel. And as Ellie, you're a lot less powerful, so you can't just take on things like you can with Joel. Like you can't just firm punches and bullet wounds. So as Ellie, like you get this feeling of just like you're not like you have to outsmart them rather than outbrute them. And there's this one fight where she has to fight this like maniac on her own, and that scene, like the other scene made me shake physically. That whole experience genuinely shook me to my core, and I'm not just saying that to be a dramatic. That entire scene messed with me. I remember I had to put it down and like walk away from that game because I knew I couldn't play another video game. So I just like I think I went and like just I had to take a break. That game, if anyone has not played that game, please do it. The first one, I can't speak on the second one. Heard it's not the best, but that first
Um,
game is the first one that ever made me feel like this is art. And anyone who centers this, I will hunt.
the closest I've
Sorry,
ever felt connected to a character is when I get a cross map hatchet as Huntress and I feel like the god that I am.
I let you have your moments, and as soon as it's my time,
We gotta lighten the mood, man.
okay, let's okay, thank you for sticking with us for that very depressing like 20 minutes.
That's like, yeah, that was a half of the podcast. Jesus. Eli, please tell me you have a non-depressing topic.
I do. Um so my next topic is um name a few like so I'm really into music. So a lot of what I'll be talking about will probably be like music or acting based. Name a few artists or musicians that you think are severely underrated and some that you think are severely overrated.
Um,
I can
huh.
go if you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
start.
why don't you go?
So my favorite band is a band called NSP, a Sensor Ninja Sex Party, and they're great. I love them. They're very comedic and very. I love the way their music sounds. I don't know if I would call them underrated anymore because they've been growing in success a lot recently. So I just want to get that out. Please listen to them if you haven't. Um, the people the thing is, so I don't listen to like a lot. I don't think you don't either, but I don't listen to a lot of mainstream music like radio music.
Literally,
So
like 95 these days, like within the last year, 95% of the music I listen to is some variation of punk music.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I mean,
listen to mostly musical theater at this point.
I don't listen to music that much, but it's mostly punk music. Which means
I
everyone
have
I listen to is underrated. Have you guys heard of a band called the Misfits? Nobody knows about them, right? Nobody knows. They're such a hidden gem. It's very underrated. The
um
Misfits. You gotta check them out. They're very underground.
have you heard of this Billy Joel fella? I think he's gonna be big one day. Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm just scrolling through like my Spotify to see like
Your
okay, here,
700
wait.
song one playlist?
Oh, did I ever okay,
Because you're
so
a psychopath?
this was when I was much younger, like when I first got Spotify and I didn't really know how it worked. I'm trying to find it. I
You're insane.
I have a playlist called Stuff and Things, and let's see.
How
guess
many?
guess
How
how
many? How many songs
guess,
are on it, Eli? How many
I don't
songs
know
are
how
on
many
Stuff and Things?
I don't know how many songs are on it. Guess how long it is.
How long is it, Eli?
No, please genuinely take one guess.
I'm gonna guess like 50 hours.
Okay, no, it's not that much.
Oh,
It is
really?
27 hours and 17 minutes.
Ah. So, for reference, the reason I know about Stuff and Things is because Eli and I occasionally will make, or we used to make playlists for
Oh,
each other.
that's a different play. You didn't know about this one. That's a different playlist you're talking about.
I don't know if it was because I made it, a 10 song ish playlist for Eli and sent it to him. He sends me his playlist, just his playlist with like 700 songs on it in no order.
Wait, was that when I think you said like once you had a like a chill playlist and you said, "Do you want to listen to it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I sent over mine.
Yeah. And it's like 700 songs long
No,
and
okay, no, my chill playlist is 5 hours long.
it wasn't, I don't think it was the chill playlist because there were full like it was every genre of music on this
My
playlist.
ch- my chill playlist has a lot of different types of music on it.
It had like
I
full
find
albums on it.
it might have been my stuff and things.
It was your Stuff and Things playlist. I know it was because there was musicals on it.
So yeah, so this is before I realized the like option was a thing. So just for clarification, my first few songs on this is the entirety of the Underclass Hero album by Sum 41, then the entirety of the Revolution Radio. I used to be really into pop punk. I still really like it. Or, yeah, like punk rock. Then there's a whole
Whoa,
Revolution Radio.
wait, those are two very different things. I don't.
You know,
I
oh,
mean,
fuck.
I
I think
mean
it's punk rock
the
mostly.
lines are so blurred, but
And then wait, hold on. Then it's All Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy. Then I have like half of their one. I forget what it's called, but it's the one with like the child and like half their face is like painted the American flag. Then it's all of then it's all of Death of a Bachelor album. Then all of My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade.
wow,
Then
wow.
it just kind of goes into here. I'm gonna scroll. Tell me when to stop. Ready?
Stop.
That's a song called the. Oh, that's a great song. I'm sorry, The Village by I forget how to pronounce his name. Rabel, I think. Wrabel. That's a great song, but that song is not meant to be in a playlist with "I Want to Hold Your Hand" by the Beatles and "If I Had $1 Million" by the Bare Naked Ladies.
What? Yeah, this is
I
just
haven't listened to that playlist.
that playlist is chaotic evil.
I've never listened to the entirety of that playlist because I can't physically. Um, but I remember because I would just go to certain parts of it, and like that's what I used as my liked songs because I didn't know how Spotify worked. Um, okay, no, okay. I was about to say, the, since like the maybe underrated and overrated thing is a little subjective, who do you think is a very famous artist that deserves 100% of the like praise they get?
I had an answer
Oh,
for
you do? Oh, sorry.
underrated.
Go on. Go on. Go on.
I don't have an like the thing about I don't listen to like a ton of like super popular like mainstream music, so
Quirky like
I don't
that.
really think you can be. I'm not. I don't really think you can be overrated. Like I don't like pop music, so like I wouldn't say
Yeah,
Ariana Grande is overrated because I don't like her music.
that's true.
I'm sure she's
That's very
appropriately
true.
rated for the people who enjoy that type of music. There is one person who is very underrated, and you can count their solo career or any bands they're in. Jack White. Jack White is so insanely talented at guitar. He deserves so much more attention than he gets. He had I know everyone just knows Seven Nation Army, but
He did that.
yes, that was the White Stripes. Um,
Oh, gotcha.
but just like Carolina Drama by the Raconteurs, amazing song. Store Bought Bones, even like Black Bat Licorice or Lazaretto. Just the guitar just sounds like something else. It's incredibly underrated.
But what's your favorite instrument, by the way? Like, do you have one or?
I think well, like what do you mean by like that? Like sound wise,
Yeah,
electric guitar.
let's say mine's probably acoustic guitar or just guitars and yeah, I would say probably acoustic guitar because the next person I wanted to talk about he's not underrated
If
as
you
a
say some shit
person.
like David Bowie, I'm gonna lose it. Very underrated guy, David
Have you
Bowie.
heard of this Van Halen, dude? He's insane, man.
There's this
Um,
artist called Queen.
um, dude, these underground people, the Rolling Stones. Oh my God, man, their music. No, but there's this musician. I only listened to one of their albums, but this album is probably one of my favorites. It because so I saw these people live just on a whim with my dad. Um, so
Wiggles.
the person is
Here comes Wiggles,
yeah,
guaranteed.
honestly it was Blue Clues. So I bet you feel stupid now.
Ah, wait, they don't. What are you talking about? That's not a musical, you idiot.
Yeah,
Called
okay.
out.
But no, let me finish my story. It's Jeff Daniels, the actor Jeff Daniels has a
Oh,
band. And no, so his son has a band, and he plays with his son. Something he went on a tour called the Live Acoustic Sitting Tour, I believe, or something. And that album is the only live album I've ever heard that like that it feels like you can listen to it live and listen to it like just through headphones, and you get this almost the same effect. Um, I adore this album. Please, like I said, Jeff Daniels is not an underrated person in and of itself. Like he's a critically acclaimed actor. Like his music is so underrated because if you were ever so that what that thing was, it was Jeff Daniels, his son, his wife, and then two other guys, I believe. Jeff Daniels is playing the guitar. His son is playing the guitar. His wife is background vocals. They have a bassist, and then they have this one dude. And oh my god, he is probably one of the most talented like guitar players I've ever
it's Jack
seen.
White, isn't it?
It is just Jack White.
It's Jack White.
No, this man was like going crazy on like the banjo and like the guitar, and it's the call. Oh, sorry, the it's a 2018 album. Please look up if you haven't. It's called the Acoustic Sit-In Tour of 2018. It is amazing. That so many songs are amazing, and I love the acoustic guitar. It makes me calm down so much. So just please listen to that album.
Now,
Yes.
to end this
Go
music
on.
segment, I'm gonna say something, a music fact about myself that probably contradicts with every music thing I've said about on this episode and every piece of information you have about me thus far in the entire series. And it's the fact that not only have I listened
Likes
to every
K-pop.
single no,
Blackpink is his favorite.
no, it's even weird. Okay, listen. And not only have I listened to every single album and song, I love every single album and song by Marty Robbins. They are
Oh
all
my god.
absolutely amazing. Well, I'm not even kidding. I've listened to every single song.
No, he's not.
They're so good. Every song is a banger. They're so good. And it's the only country music I listen to. Other than Johnny Cash, but like
Johnny Cash.
yeah, he kind of transcends country music. But yeah, so I hate all other country music. Marty Robbins, Amazing. By the
Marty
way,
Robbins is very good.
most of that comes from my brother, who introduced
Yeah.
me to Marty Robbins and listens to it all the time.
Um, do you want us? Can we say your brother's name, or do you want to just like?
Um, I
He
don't.
probably wouldn't want us to.
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't want us to. He's not on any
No, let's
social
not.
media. He has a very private career, so I'm not
No,
gonna
let's
say his
not.
name.
May I chime in with my favorite your brother story of all time?
Yeah, absolutely.
So before me and Cody, or before I could drive, me, Cody, and Matt, and our other friend Lewis, we
Is
would
this
go
the
to
first
Cody's house
time
all the
Lewis
time.
has been mentioned on the podcast?
Really? I
I,
actually, oh, okay,
it
it's our
is,
second
yeah,
episode.
yeah, but still, it's a little surprising. All right, yeah,
Yeah.
continue.
So this time it was just me, Matt, and Cody hanging out, and because we can't drive, me and Cody live decently close to each other. Matt does not, but yeah. So Cody's brother went to go drive us home because he's just a nice dude.
He is.
So we get in the car and the three of us are just kind of talking. Cody almost, how did you almost kill us? You almost like suffocated us in the car.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I turned the heating was on, but I turned off the internal ventilation of the car by accident. So eventually it would just start I think it's like carbon monoxide or something like that. But people, you can't actually pass out, and people have because we live in a Massachusetts cold. If you turn off the ventilation for your car and you turn on the heat, it'll eventually start leaking gas from the engine chamber into your car, which causes you to pass out. So I accidentally did that. We didn't. No one passed out, but I accidentally turned
No,
off
no,
the internal
he caught it very
ventilation.
quick.
Yes.
Everyone was fine. He caught it very quickly. But that was just the starter to the night. And so we were driving just talking. And we show up to Lewis's apartment complex.
I remember
And
this.
before we even turn in, we're like, wait a minute. We're like, wait, Lewis is here with us? And Grant puts one arm on like the armrest and just turns around, whips his head back, and looks at all of us, and looks at me and me. So Cody was in a shotgun seat. Me and Matt were in the back, and he just whips his head back and like eyebrows raised and goes, "Oh."
um, for reference, my brother is 2 years older than me. He's in his 20s. And um, he, he, despite the fact that Eli and Matt and Lewis have been hanging out at my house for years.
He knew us at this point. He
Yes.
knew our names.
See, no, the thing is, he still doesn't know your names. You have been hanging
Really?
out at my house for like so long at this point. He still just he knows he knows Lewis's name now, but he
We've been
calls
friends
you
with Lewis
guys
for longer.
yes, but he calls you guys by physical descriptions.
Do I want to know?
It's just usually hair color.
Oh, the blonde one or the?
Yeah, he's like the one with black hair or the one with blonde hair. So yes, that I remember that vividly. That was hilarious. He whips around like just stares at both of you for like a split second, just goes, "Oh."
Then the three of us start cracking. I've had so many weird interactions with your family.
We can make this an extra long episode. That's fine with me. I'm down to keep going. If you'd
Here,
like to.
let me tell two more stories of
Yeah, run through.
my weird. I
also,
have two weird experiences with your family members.
yeah, to
and then
make that
we'll wrap.
story, to make the story about my brother even funnier, Lewis lives 40 minutes in the wrong direction.
Yeah, he lives on like the opposite end of town.
Lewis
from
lives on
Cody.
the opposite end of the city from where Eli and I live.
So then I forget. Didn't he go back and drop me off then?
He dropped you off, and then he drove Matt home, which takes
Yeah,
like
so
an
basically-
hour each way to take Matt home.
Yeah. So like I said, I live close to Cody, so he basically had to go all the way back
Yeah,
and drop me off, and then go in the opposite direction again to drop Matt off.
by the end of the night, we got home after well after midnight.
And we left at like 9, didn't we?
Yeah, it was may have been like 10 or something, but we got home like
Yeah.
1 o'clock. Anyway, what's your two other stories?
You want the one with your mom or with again.
I'm a little nervous to hear. Let's do another one.
Okay, no, the
Oh
mom.
shoot!
You
You
were
just
there
said
for a
his
moment.
name.
Uh,
Oh, dude, put
think,
in. What? Come up
oh
with a
no!
fake name.
Time out. So apparently, our fucking critic Matt is convinced instead of Clive, we kept saying Pive. His name is Clive
But
with a
Matt's an idiot, so it's
Clive. It is
fine.
Clive. Is Clive Banderstand or whatever? His name is Clive.
Okay,
That's just for
but
clarification. So you
I'll,
want to
I'll
hear the
just
one
I'll
about
I'll
your
just
brother?
bleep out the name. Give me my brother one again.
So your brother. This is a short one, but I think he was going to the bathroom downstairs where we all hang out,
Hmm.
and I was getting up to get something, and we did the thing where we both met. We went right, left, and then I just sat down because like your brother's a very nice person. I'd never held a full conversation with him. The max words exchange were like two, but
You and
like
most people, man.
yeah, no. So he's like, but he's a like kind of a physically intimidating guy. He
He's
is
very
tall.
tall. He is
So
incredibly tall, and he's not like buff. He's in shape though. He's
he's
very
like
in
toned.
shape. Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just like, and he like laughed it off, but it was such a moment of like, this man could probably punt me if he wanted to. So like, it was just
I hadn't heard that one. That's great.
you were there for it. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember it.
Yeah,
But
oh, that was the worst.
that's
All right, and then
very in character for everyone in that story, and I'm sure he just laughed it off and thought nothing of it.
oh yeah, but it haunts me to my core.
I'll ask him if he
Um,
remembers that. We'll
definitely
get an
doesn't.
update on the next episode of whether my brother remembers Eli sitting down in front of him.
He definitely doesn't. But okay, the second one is with your mom, and this was the latest. I know that sounds really like your mom, but like no, it was just. So this was the last time we actually hang out in person. It was your birthday, so me and Matt came over.
Dude, that was so long ago.
You, yeah, this was last Halloween. This is in
Yeah,
February. We're
yeah.
filming this at the end of February. This was at the end of October,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
for reference, my birthday is right at the end of October, and usually we celebrate it on Halloween because
Yeah,
it's right before Halloween.
Cody has a whole spooky aesthetic to him, so it just
That
kind of
is
makes sense.
that is true.
I'm gonna say, don't even try to.
No, you're
um,
right. You know.
so I arrived first, and me and Matt, no, sorry, me and Coach kind of hanging out in his basement, and we heard footsteps. We're like, "Oh, is that Matt?"
Oh God.
Um,
I
do you
can
remember
feel
this?
I can no, but I can sense the cringe.
So we hear Matt above us, and we're like, "Oh, okay." So we we hear him
Oh,
start walking down the stairs, and we both turn to him in like the most Sasquatch pose and just kind of stare at him with wide eyes and open mouths, only to find out it in fact is not Matt, but in fact his mother, his very nice mother, who has always been super kind and respectful towards me. And it is just me standing there staring at her with like an open mouth and wide eyes, just going like, oh. And as soon as she came down, I felt my heart take out a gun and shoot itself.
I remember.
I was
that.
like, I said, I'm sorry like 10 times. And she's like, oh no, it's okay. Because she's used to Cody's like weirdness.
That's true.
And then
Like,
Cody is dying of laughter at this
I am
point.
laughing
I want to leave.
so hard.
I've been in the, so like me and Cody have been hanging out for like years at this point, so she knows me and like we've had conversations.
Oh,
Before.
yeah,
She is very nice to me.
Hmm.
So that's why I felt even worse and just like I wanted to leave. I've been at this house for about 5 minutes at this point. I wanted to leave so badly.
And
I felt
it's even funnier because
she didn't care.
she is the most non-judgmental, like standard,
She's
just
so nice.
sweet lady ever. Like she's used to my just bizarre antics, so she thought nothing of it. But just the amount that I knew it made Eli uncomfortable had me absolutely dying.
Because like if I'm comfortable with you, like if I'm comfortable around you, like I'm very comfortable around Cody. That's probably why this podcast is so like chaotic.
Yeah.
I will like I will be chaotic. Like I'll like do a lot of spontaneous, like funny, little quirky things. Fuck me. But when it's someone who like an adult or someone I don't know so well, I'm like one of the most introverted, like kind, respectful, like polite people you will ever meet. Someone was like, "Hello, my name is Eli Plummer. It's very nice to meet you, ma'am." I've never said ma'am, but like Miss
Yeah.
Gehrig. So it was such. So it's like she's always gotten that side of me where I'm always like, "Hello, I'm like hi," and then to her to come down to me going, I didn't make a noise. I was dead silent, and my mouth, but my mouth was open. Arms are in like the T pose, but like down, like the
Yeah.
Chad pose,
Yeah.
and I was just wide eyed staring at her. And every time Cody looked at me, he started laughing more.
It's so funny. Um, that, yeah, that's just great. I, I think that's a good place to stop it. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I.
you have more stories. I'm sure I have a few brother
This is
stories.
good. We're going pretty long.
Yeah. But if you wanna close it out, or if you want
All
me
right.
to.
To close out the second episode.
Oh, I'll love to close out the second
Oh
episode.
God.
Um,
I think one of the worst part is if you say something like annoying or like wrong or something, I can't fix it because you're the one that edits this.
that's true.
You
Um,
you choose when this ends.
that's true. I'm gonna end it right now.